All right, so let me see. Come on. Right, so I'm telling it to use my camera audio. So that will work instead. Let's get my stream link. Right, so I'm just going to post this up on the chat. 8 minutes in. Ooh, not much time there. All right, I think we are good. So let me just do some Q&A and stuff here for you guys. More for the right. So I'm just about 8 plus 3, about 5 short of us there. All of us assignment. There's about 38 submitted so far. About 5 short for 43 in the course. So those who are still pending assignments, you still have time. The marker might not be too happy for me to give you late stuff for him, but we'll see how that goes. I'll convince him to use those. So I have 3 more went to him. So that will mean 2 more still outstanding, right? So you still have time, still submit. Please submit your GNS3 project. I know you guys are not watching any of my videos because you guys are millennials. So yes, the video is 20 minutes long. This is to show you how to use GNS3. That's the second video in the assignment. So remember when I post the assignment, the 2 videos. One is the setting up GNS3, and the other one is using it and exporting the project. So I showed you how to rename the GNS3 project. The save as, that's a different version. And I also showed you how, in the last bit of the video, so I guess that's where you get bored. The last part of the video showing you how to export the project as a zip file, and that's what I want you to do when you upload. Now, the marker only picked up 1, which is good. 1 out of 36 is not bad, who did not submit their GNS3 project exported. So I told them to submit. They end up sending their GNS3 file. That does not have the configurations in it. That only have your design, what you did. So the GNS3 is basically showing you where the different devices are, where they're linking up. That's it. The actual contents of it is in a separate folder in the configuration. So that's why I put the video, repost the video for you to go on. Please check that and re-upload, right? So that's important. Now, you could pass. No, you would not really pass if you have your config files. So we mark based on the config files you send to. So if you submit your GNS3 project with the configuration saved, and you have your screenshots and stuff showing that it worked, perfect. You're good. If you do not save your configuration, you show screenshots, you might get half the marks, and you do not send the commands, then you're going to lose like almost 50, maybe 40% of your marks you might lose there. Because there's no evidence that you have the configuration. You're showing that it is running, but you show evidence of it before that it was paying on, or showing that the PCs are paying, but there's no configuration evidence showing that it did happen. And that's what we will also mark on. So you will lose marks, and yeah, you'll get marks on the IP addressing scheme, but not on the actual configuration. So that just let you know. So you think it's working, so just pre-save, and then that's what give you the command files to fill it out and submit that, so that we could use that to mark. And you may not, so if your GNS3 is empty and you show evidence that it was working before and you have the config files, there's a chance you might get most of the marks. May not get all, I think. I'll see how it goes. I think you may not get all, but at least you'll get most, which is good. Right, so that's the assignment. The next thing, coursework exam, I hope you guys are preparing for it. It's going to be, RIP would be the last part of it. So it's going to be 4 components. I already gave you the topics, the areas, right? VLSM stuff on spanning tree and switching and stuff, right? So it's there, and RIP is the last protocol. Well, the last part of it. So I only cover up the RIP at that point before I gave the exam out. So that's what you're going to be examined on. It's going to be a simple packet tracer file. That's what it is. You're going to have 4 questions to answer. Each question in different parts. Each question is going to cover, you see those 4 topic areas I give you? That's what those 4 questions are going to cover. Each question is that topic. So something on VLSM, there might be some IP addressing stuff to do. Kind of, yeah. If it's something with spanning tree, you're going to do some spanning tree. Easy stuff on spanning tree, actually, so you guys be good. Because it's open book, right? Could get your code and all those things and put it together, right? If it's I think if it's at the channel stuff, you have at the channel stuff to configure as well. So that's a separate question, and then you have a RIP question to answer as well. So the RIP question can be different things. It could be like you're given something that's supposed to be working, but it's not, and then you have to go in there and fix it. Right? It could be one or two issues. The questions might say, okay, so and so not working, and so not working, and you have to go and fix it. Right? So you have to do some subnetting, check out if that's the right thing, look at the RIP commands, RIP output, and then see. Or it can actually be just configure. The easiest is just configure the interfaces with RIP and passive interface. So that's how it could either be one of those two or combination, maybe. We'll see. Right? So that's with the coursework exam. Group project now. Okay, calculation question. So somebody asked about the calculation question. Yes, use your personal devices. Open book now. You can use as much cheat sheets you want, because you could go on My Learning and Google, and heck, I'll challenge you guys, use Copilot and waste time. Google is waste time already, but Copilot is even worse. So I just laughing at it because it's not going to help you solve it. You cannot, okay, right now, AI has not reached a point where we can take your packet tracer file, plug it into Copilot or ChatGPT and say, hey, these are the questions, can you give me the answers? It's not going to do it, right? It will reach that advanced yet. For you to decompile the contents of packet tracer and put it in there, perfect, great, then you guys deserve the full. But if you could do that with Copilot and it does it, let me know. I mean, you guys, then you deserve the marks to be able to do the proper prompts, right? So yeah, so personal device. So yeah, go ahead. Again, config files. One thing you're not going to allowed to do is to interactively go and ask questions with another person or anybody else. So you're not allowed to go on email and email somebody or contact someone else, even outside of UE or anywhere else, to ask them for how to solve this, or get into this chat support forum and ask them how to do this. No, right? That's not, you're not going to actually interact with a real human. I don't know about the fake chat prompts, maybe, but not to a real person or sites that maybe. So that's what you're not allowed to do. So either take out. So that's the limitation at this point in time. And that might be it for a good while. Unless I make it much more difficult. So that's what it is. So the next question is the calculation questions. So calculations is more like VLSM. You have to like take a certain subnet and break it up into smaller pieces. That's the calculation question. You could use these subnetting websites online. So you search for subnetting page, IP subnetting tool, go on there, plug in the stuff, and then do your calculations. So you do out your subnets and know what your ranges are. You have to record this information somewhere, right? So regardless of if the tool is giving you the info, you have to decide, okay, is this range going to work or is that range going to work? And guess what? You have to take that information and plug it into the right command to make the changes on the system, right? So it's not a point-click answer and then you put it in there. You may ask ChatGPT or Copilot for the help, and it might give you the thing, but you got to verify, right? I'm not so sure if that will work or not. So you can plug it in, ChatGPT give you the wrong thing, wrong subnet, and you plug it in, and you might get the wrong information, right? So that's where you have to know what it is you're looking for and know what to calculate. So at the end of the day, all these AI assisted tools going to help, but you have to verify what it is going to give you. Right? So yeah, that's why I'm unofficial. You could go ahead and use those tools, but I didn't want to put it on in the exam paper. Open book was enough already. Right? So the only limitation, you're not going to be interactively chatting with a human being or something like that. If you get if you could contact somebody like, those Chinese room or something, fine. If you could get someone that is not a person behind there, great. But that's an AI thing, so don't worry about that. That's an AI joke. They have a billboard, data, what you call it, one of those data maps about AI and stuff. Someone posted in the Department of Maths. I think it's in the lab. I don't know if it's taken down from the lab. One of those mind maps or something like that about AI and stuff. But anyhow. So that's what the calculation questions will be. Worst case, it might go down to the points of, with respect to spanning tree, and where you have to put the proper priorities, but like I showed you with span training labs, you don't have to know the exact priority values for the VLAN. You just have to set the priority, root primary, whatever the commands are, based on what it is, and it'll generate. Remember I did that before? We did root primary in the lab, and I showed you, based on the context of who the root bridge is, it will set that person just slightly lower in priority than the root bridge. And remember, we keep going back and forth, and we keep dropping it lower. Everybody is back and forth saying, hey, I want to be root primary, and they keep dropping the priority lower and lower until they reach the base where everybody is the same priority level, and the only one who won was the lowest MAC address, right? So, but as I didn't expect that kind of calculation, you let these equipment do that calculation. So I'm hoping that answers your questions in terms of the calculation questions. That's more subnet and calculation questions on VLS now. Right, so that's with that. Group project. So, yes, my fault. I didn't push out the group projects. There's some, I listed out there's a form, a sheet I put out with the list of groups, the group names and the members. So it's just a rehash of what you guys posted, right? So if it's wrong, please check and confirm and let me know, right? Because I'll re-verify if you're in the wrong group, right? And that's the thing. That's why I did that. There's 3 groups who was not in a named group. So I just call it group 11, group 12, no, group 12, 13, and group 12, group 13, group 14. The word written out. So that's a group name. And I assigned you based on your ID number going down in a numerical order. So I just took whoever remain, you're in group 12, 12, group 13, whoever else remain, and then group 14. So there's no random, nothing like that. You had your chance already, right? You had a chance where you can form your own groups, right? So there's only less 10 people outstanding. So that's sorted out. So now what I'm going to do, your group projects, so it's going to have like 3 to 5 groups going to have similar projects, but you're going to be using a student ID to start to generate like IP addresses for that solution. And like I said, 3 to 5 groups. So 3 of them will be very similar. The 4th and 5th group will be a slight deviation, which are like, let's say, use EIGRP instead of OSPF. That's what's going to happen. And then the other groups, so there's 14 groups in all. So then the next 3 to 5 groups will be at different things to work on. Their focus will be somewhere else. So your focus might be more in, every group will have to do a piece of something that you would have done in the course. I'll example of it. So everybody may have to do a piece of ether or everybody will have to do some spanning tree. So when you do your design, your focus will be, okay, somebody will do more routing than ether. Another group might be more ether and spanning tree than dynamic routing. But you'll still have to do some dynamic routing, just not as much. So your focus will be in one area than the other. It all depends on how the groups are. I mean, if you guys have some ideas, you can give me it, let me know, because I might tell you, hey, go and look at what your network environment is and work or wherever, and then you guys plan together and put that together and see how the ideal configuration would be or something like that, right? Or how you think your work network should be based on what you learn in this course. And you're adding all those technologies, and then I'm going to create a different, in that same forum, I'm creating a different thread for each group. So everybody can see everybody's group conversation. So that thread is between me and that group, and they're discussing stuff. So you have a question, I will just post up the answers and we go through back and forth. Given the amount of groups, I would not be able to do like a lot of one-on-one with each group. Before, when I had like about 5 groups or 3 groups, I was able to do one-on-one with them, where I have a 1-hour session with them, and then I work with that because it was just 5 hours time to deal with it. Right, so that's with the case of the group projects. And yeah, that literally covers all the assessments for the course. Right, so I will try to post up your assignment marks soon, your multiple choice marks. So that's 20 plus 20, that's 40. So you'll know how much it is you get out of 40. And then your group project. Well, once you get about 30 something out of 40, I think you have it in the bag, you pass the course. Because your group project should get you at least over 20 something marks in it. Right? So that just lets you know that that's where we're going there. Right? Multiple choice was not too bad actually. You guys did pretty okay. I got you a lot of the band was in the borderline, but that's fine. You got more out passing. I get more passing than not passing. and the 30% is the pass mark in my books. So 30 out of 60, sorry, 50%. Not 30%. 30 out of 60, 50%. That's the pass mark in my book. So I get more people on average passing, which is good. All right. So I hope you guys read the rest of the slides of OSPF. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to make videos of those, so you guys could read it. Now I did all these in snippets and small pieces, so I can actually finish this maybe 1:10, 1:2. I should be able to finish that, maybe that as well today. On Thursday, I would not be able to finish this out. I might jump straight into the implementing EIGRP in terms of the lab. And because this Saturday is going to be lab exam, I would not be able to do OSPF labs. It'll have to be the next Saturday, OSPF. But because that's going to be week 11, week 12, I may not. So technically, one of these labs, I might not be able to do EIGRP lab, for instance. So you'll have to go through what I put online and actually go through the lab itself. And that is what you're going to use in a group project. Right? Because at that point, we're going to literally be doing, by week 13, we're going to do like group presentations, maybe week 13, week 4. Well, unofficially, well, I'm being recorded here, so there's a problem. But ideally, week 13 might be the group. Officially, it's week 12 is where you want to do the group presentations, right? Officially. Now, given that most of you are doing 100% coursework, that period of week 14, 15, 16, etc., which is exam time, you're not doing any exams because you finish all the course assessments for the courses, right? Which is the next thing. I need to find out how much of you are actually doing 100% courses this semester. How much course is 100% coursework and how much is a final exam? One is final exam? This one? So everything else is final exam? Oh, you're going to cause trouble. What's that? 9th of December? Yeah, no, you're gonna have problems. Because not that you, but that means my presentations will have to be at week 13. I might not be able to try it in week 14 because regulations means that week 14, which is exam time, can't do anything. As exams, can't do anything. Technically, I can. All depends on the who have 100% coursework, like for most of their courses, and they could present later. But I would rather have like 2 sessions of presentations and done because there are more groups to present. So I will see. So somebody has 4 coursework, 1 final. What I want to do is just do up a poll. She got 3 courses with final exams. So, right. So you see, that's where we have that kind of diverse kind of arrangement happening. So, because of that, I was pushing to have, for those who are doing like more 100% coursework, that we kind of push presentations closer into the exam period. But because of some students who have exams, like more exams than coursework, then I cannot do that. Right, so I have to be fair and then stick to the week 13 for presentation. So you guys have this week, week 10, 11, 12, 3 weeks to put together some stuff. And maybe piece of week 13. Now, the good thing is that you can have something working on week 13 and present, and your final report could be submitted later. So I'm not going to push ahead hard deadline and say, hey, submit everything by week 13. But I'm going to say, yes, that's your deadline, but I'll accept late submissions. Right? So that's how you'll get away. I just need, what I might do for the class webinar, I'll, if you could just put out a poll, an anonymized poll, and let's see how much students have, how much coursework and how much final exams. And what I'll do is just give me the raw data. All right, thanks. Just give me the raw data. So just say and anonymize it. So you just say student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will just tabulate it, right? So how much final exam, how much coursework only, and I will or maybe you could put it here. You could tabulate it. Give me the raw data. So I'll get like about 30 or 40 responses, and then I could work it there. Or you could do it. Give me both raw and the tabulated collapse. to say, okay, 5 students have 4 coursework exams and 100% coursework or something, 1 final or something like that. So that way I could work out was the best way I could approach it. Because some of you will be in groups where you're going to have final exams, more final exams than coursework. And while that other group members will be more coursework exams than final exam. So then they could actually do more. They could end up working later and presenting later than you. But yeah, it's all a matter of timeline and when I have to do the presentation. So it seems like week 13 might be closer to what we're doing. But once I have the data, I can make a better decision and see. Could be outline, but so far seen 1 or 2, so I kind of getting there. All right, so that's where we are at right now. We're at 5:30, so we have about 20 minutes. Oh, yeah, 20 minutes. See how I can get this done, right? So we're looking at EIGRP concepts. Again, when I do this, I want you guys, the lab is there. I want you to go through the lab and use the lab to help you out with the group project, because the lab is good. You go online, you don't get a lab like that detailed because most labs are basic. This is because it's teaching you about EIGRP and different things and how it's really powerful, resilient. The advanced lab is nice to do because what I did with the EIGRP lab, which is cool, and this is like how you should be thinking out of the box, is that I took the OSPF lab and I said, hey, can I took the concept of areas in OSPF and implement it in EIGRP? And I did it in EIGRP with using what they call autonomous system numbers, which EIGRP uses. So I tell EIGRP that you're going to be on your own area by using an autonomous system number. And that's what the advanced lab in EIGRP is. The cool thing is I have the solution file there for you guys. And I also have the command file for the solution too. So you guys can actually go and look at it and implement the solution, see what the commands mean, what it does, and then implement. Once you do that, you kind of have a very good grasp of EIGRP. So you not only could do well in the exam, the CCN, well, sorry to say, the CCNA exam may not have EIGRP questions in it. It might have just 1. So this will be the last time this might be running EIGRP. If you're looking at here, it's in the appendix Q of this text. The next text may or may not have it in the appendix in the 2024 version. I will check that. I have new text, so I'll check it and see if it's there. So this is so you see they move it into the appendix. It used to be a chapter 9. Now it moved into appendix. Eventually that's going to move out, right? Just remember, that's what happens when you just keep hold on to proprietary technology and don't share it with people. You're going to get obsolete. All right, so you'll learn it, you'll use it, you'll know how it works, but you might not see it in the exam. But when you go out in the network environment, there may be a case where you're going to be using it, depending on, most of a lot of people are still using Cisco, they might be using that, all right? Well, except here, we don't use that because design. All right, so again, home network, not really using a home, possible use across buildings, just like OSPF, as I mentioned before. The neighborhood network is a likely candidate. Good to have backup routes to the internet, which is really cool. Of course, with the fiber and all these things. Now, the thing about this, that we're a group project, I may have an EIGRP part where you're going to be doing some OSPF, a little small amount, only a few, but your focus might be more EIGRP and saying, hey, this is what your let's say a corporate network that you have, and you want to implement how it should be run. I will advise you on certain things. Now, what I may advise you may not be the perfect thing, but it'll be close to what Cisco would like to do with EIGRP when you set up your network. So you can take your corporate network, another person who's working somewhere and they have a corporate network, we could put those two networks together. One of them could be OSPF, one could be EIGRP, and we say, okay, how do we link these up together, right? And ideally, it's supposed to be through a WAN connection, but we're going to just put them as if they're in the same area, literally in the same compound or something like that. Right? So that's what the group project will end up being. Right? So I think it's a nice diagram here. Local communication network. Oh, this is nice. Micro smart grid communication. Just to let you know, this term does not exist. The words microgrid and microgrid exists. smart grid exists separately. Micro smart grid does not exist. Google it. It doesn't exist. Ask ChatGPT. It doesn't exist. It's a concept I created of 2 years ago, but it's something that we should start thinking of what it really means. Right? So we're using communication. You can use dynamic routing to help with your micro smart grid setup. But so it's basically set up links between houses and configure equipment. That's that part. But then you have the way of how electricity or power is moving around different units. So you can actually so consider this is data, and then you have a next link that is power. Right? So one is data and one is power. And what you're doing is that you're using data to help control the flow of power back and forth. Right? And if you control the flow of power, you can actually move power to one place that needs it, or move it back to another place that needs it. So it's more like a nice dynamic charging system. So you're considering, sorry, this is a new concept, right? This is not part of the course. I just put in a concept here that you guys could think outside the box. This is part of the whole renewable energy, green revolution, etc., beyond, this way beyond thinking of all those things. So just something to think about where using IT technology to help. Right, compare and contrast, well, distance vectors. So we're going to the nitty-gritty now. Interior, exterior, we did this. IPv4. You'll notice I moved away kind of from IPv6 now with these things because of more the content. As I take out EIGRP, I will put IPv6 into OSPF. But that's not this course revision. That'll be the next offering in the course. That you will see EIGRP get less, IPv6 OSPF will get more, and that's where the direction will end up going. All right, let's just skip this. You guys can read up about this. Split horizon. Distance vector, split horizon. That is what the terminal is. Once you start doing distance vector, and because EIGRP is distance vector balance hybrid, they will use split horizon as well. Right? Dual is also used in dual is the algorithm used in EIGRP. That is their calculation algorithm. Just like how you have Bellman Ford is to RIP, Dijkstra's is to OSPF, dual is to EIGRP, right? That's what it is. Right, so this one, right, route poisoning, infinite metric route, when a route fails, right? And you see some terms here, distance vector and infinite metric, so they put these in there, route poisoning. Right, again, just the history behind it, EIGRP version 6, 2000, and I think 2003. They open sourced the thing and it was too late because everybody was using OSPF and nobody wanted to implement EIGRP to work with Cisco anymore because OSPF was doing the work and eventually it came out. So it's a very nice historical knowledge to know what happens when you decide to not open up technology and try to keep it closed and when the world is using a different technology out there. Right, same thing with so even though EIGRP is a hybrid, a balanced hybrid, right? Hybrid protocol. Unlike RIP is using hop counts. EIGRP is using a different method, right? They use I think what it is, cost. Right, bandwidth and link delay. There it is. So EIGRP uses link bandwidth and link delay to calculate what is the best route as opposed to hop count with respect to RIP. Right? RIP uses hop count as metric and uses a mat follower with slow links or higher metrics, right? Lower or worse route, sorry, with higher metrics means it's less preferred. And they use a mat formula. Before CCNA used to do the mat formula, which is some summations and some other K values and stuff in there. But because they're moving away from it, I'm not going to go too much into it. I may show it here, but you don't need to worry about too much about it. Right, so this thing, it doesn't fit into distance vector or link state, but it closely matches distance vector. So it's not more link state like in OSPF, but it's more distance vector in terms of the mechanism it uses. So it's maybe using Bellman Ford, a modified version of the Bellman Ford with their own proprietary algorithm in there. right? I think we did all of this, distance vector. We did all this with RIP. Same concept, right? Flow of RIP messages. So I'm going to skip all of this. Right? Again, distance is how far. The direction is which interface that is going on, right? So that's basically how to get to, let's say, subnet X. In this case, you have a case of 2R2, 4 hops, 2R5 is 3 hops, and then 2R7 is 2 hops. So each two, those are directions, and then the distance is basically the amount of hops you need to do. And in most cases, link state and distance vector, all of them do have a direction, which is the interface. At the end of the day, OSPF and EIGRP and all these guys, right, they will actually show which interface to get to this network. And it's up to the cost now, which is the distance, is where you're going to determine which direction to take. Of course, the usual stuff, full update message split horizon. Right, both call your messages and update message. Right, so remember, RIP keeps sending updates messages all the time, every 30 seconds. Right, so of course and EIGRP does as well. So EIGRP uses a hello message and a time interval. This is the monitor to make sure. So updates is one thing, but there's also the hello and timers to see if the link is up or not. Right, so they send periodic updates at the same time. Full updates sent each time. So this is the thing with RIP. Updates are sent periodically, even if there's no network change. They always send updates, so it's going to be taking up bandwidth. Right, RIP also implements split horizon, which we know. Right, I don't know why they just repeating all these things. So I'm just going to go and skip all of this. Right, this is just, we just did over split horizon. We already know about route poisoning. You put a value of 16 in the route, so just remove it from the list, right? Right, so this is just basically distance vector rehash again with EIGRP. So I'll just finish this off. Right. Again, this is the text. I put the ISBN for you guys, right? So you can just go on Amazon, plug in the ISBN, and you'll get the actual text that I'm pulling from these, right? Let me just go to the next one, and I'll hopefully get the real meat of the matter here. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Did 10 for the last one, should be 10 for this one. Maybe even less. Right, skip, done this. Right, so guys, go through the quick quiz if you want. I don't think you need to worry about that anymore because you finished the multiple choice. So this is more focused for questions in the CCNA exam when you need to take it, right? Right, so all these questions want to help you with the CCNA exam. And what you can do is use this content to kind of look at guided questions online as well. Right, so it's an advanced distance vector, right? Proprietary books as its own category. They call it balanced hybrid, advanced distance vector. So there's the different terminology that that other people has given it. Right, sends information about each route once. Right, so it doesn't send it in every single update. It doesn't send it. It just sends it once. The device will learn it, and sometimes you don't get an update for until your route changes, and that could mean months. Well, okay, weeks to months to years, depending on how stable your routes are. Right, after which you only send partial updates of any changes. Right, any new or change of information about a route. The only time you really send full updates is in an event that a router decides to a power cycle or reboot us on a maintenance and it changes and another route comes up and the old router comes back up. Then you might end up sending full updates coming through. Right, maintains neighbor status using hello, just like OSPF, RIP, all these guys do the same thing, right? Right, use the same hello interval, the same period with each hello. I think it's supposed to be about, right, the hello 5 and 15 seconds. Right, receive a hello from a neighbor with a time called the hello interval, which is 3 times the hello, right? So 3 times, well, the whole, sorry, whole, what am I saying? Whole interval, right? So you have the hello is 5 seconds and the whole interval is 15. So if you don't hear a hello message after 15 seconds, then they have something, the neighbor could be considered down or a dead, they call it dead interval as well. Right, of course, they said if you have a poor choice of combinations, so let's say one device has a hello and a whole interval of 5-15 seconds, while another setup is 10 to 10, or even 10, maybe 15, 45, you can end up having a problem because one person could be sending up hellos every 5 seconds, while the other one is only need to send it every 15. And because of that mismatch, you're going to have having a case where one of them is not going to receive a hello after 15 seconds, and they're going to say, hey, I'm Luz's neighbor. I'm going to send an update to tell everybody else that this link is down, this network is down. Update our routing protocols. Why? When that happens, it's forcing EIGRP to recalculate and re-update the routing table. The funny thing is that, and a few seconds later, it picks up a hello message from the other router because its interval is 15 seconds, 45 seconds, right? So every 15 seconds, then it finally picks up an update, and then it said, hey, look, I got an update. Send out the update to everybody. Everybody runs the dual algorithm, re-update. So the route comes back up. It works for a few seconds and it goes back down. So your route is basically what you call route flapping. The route comes up, it goes up and down, and they're going to be inconsistent. Why? Because you're going to send traffic flow to this destination, and then all of a sudden the traffic flow stops because the route doesn't exist anymore. It goes somewhere else. So then you end up having a problem with traffic going to get choppy, stuttering, low connection, and then you start to get back connection, right? So that's where you have the problem misconfigured hello and whole updates. Best case, just leave it default out of the box. You're good to go there. Don't really need to change it. The only time you need to know about these hello and whole intervals is when the question comes up and saying, hey, I'm having a problem. Like they give you 2 settings of EIGRP, and then they say, okay, the device is having a problem of communicating or they're not getting traffic flow. And the answer might actually be the hello whole interval timers are different. And that's where the problem is. Right, so that's one example. Right, just summarizing of these guys, the routing protocols. So you can see metric is based on like hop count by the cost. You could see, look at this. Route poisoning for failed routes, because it's distance vector, EIGRP uses that. And they put some large value, right? And this is the cool thing here. EIGRP uses 2 to the power 32 minus 1 to be considered infinite route. And that is what it's going to put. And 2 to the power 2 minus 1 is not really, not a small number, but it's not a too large number because it's just a 32-bit value. It just puts us all ones, well, minus 1. So it'll be all ones minus 1 at the end. So it'll just be all ones and a 0 at the end of it, 32-bit, right? Just puts that in there, that value equivalent to the decimal, and then it works that out, right? So it's not a big problem. OSPF does a 24 minus 1, but you realize they don't do route poisoning here. Oh yeah, OSPF, sorry, does route poisoning too. And the mere fact it does it because it has this value at the bottom here. So, right. The main reason I want to highlight is split horizon. Because of distance vector, split horizon. Let me just erase this. Yeah. Everybody use route poisoning. Split horizon because of distance vector. That's why you have it in EIGRP and RIP, but not in OSPF. And the cool thing is, remember your nice Class D network addresses, your IP addresses for Class D. You know, Class A, B, and C, and then everybody said D is multicast. Where are you using it? These are examples of Class D addresses, right? These are defined by RFCs. So 224.0.0.9 is a multicast address, right? It's a multicast address for RIP, defined by RFC. So RIP protocol will send to this address. Everybody, other devices that are using RIP will listen on this multicast address. That's what's going to happen. You cannot configure that address on equipment. It does that automatically. That's Class D, right? Those are multicasts. EIGRP, this is a different range, 224.0.0.10, one value up. That's fine. They get that standard. Look at OSPF, 224.0.0.5 to 224.0.0.6, right? Their values are less than RIP. based on designs and standards. So that's fine. You go and look online. If you guys create your own dynamic routing protocol, you can look at a multicast address that doesn't have a value yet and put your default definition and create your own if you want to, right? That'll be cool. That'll be some nice research to get into, but you have to make sure these multicasts have some purpose, right? I'm sure there's a lot out there, not just for routing protocols. They use it for other things like video multicast or IPv6 multicast. Well, V6 might use this. They'll use their own IPv6 address. So they'll have their own multicast address class or whatever it is. Other protocols and stuff will use these addresses. So you have different types. It might be 224.5.11 or something like that. But you could check that out. Right, hold on, let's erase this. Almost finished this piece, I hope. 3-step model when building a network. So a little different from RIP, but it kind of close enough. List of table, you have a neighbor table, topology table, and a routing table. But some things make sense. Just remember how we, just like for OSPF, you have the LSAs going out, and then you have the LSDB. And the database, everybody has the LSDB, and eventually the LSDB for the OSPF is the same. So this is the case with RIP. RIP has its neighbor table, and then it builds a topology table, and then it's going to calculate, use the topology table, right, to calculate, use the dual algorithm to then calculate what is the best routes, and then it's going to update the routing table, just like how OSPF does it. But it's going to be its own, when it adds entries, it's actually going to put EIGRP has made this update, right? If you guys go through the lab, you could see that happening. Right, so neighbor discovery, neighbor table, sends hello messages, basic parameter checks, routers become neighbors. So all this is part of it to know who's my route table. Remember when we do a show IP protocols, you'll see the list of neighbors when we did it in the RIP lab. So the same IP protocols will do for OSPF and EIGRP, and you'll see who the neighbors are. So that's part of your neighbor table. Right, the next one, the topology exchange, you see have the full updates when the relationship comes up, and then partial updates needed as accordingly. So full updates, so that starts to build the topology table to see networks, who these guys know, right? It's just almost like OSPF with its link states and it's building up with us. A little different because it's using distance vector and all these things to work it out. And then, right, so it's old topology table. And then choosing routes, analyzes respective topology onto each subnet, places each best one into the IPv4 routing table. Of course, what it does is uses the dual algorithm in step 3. So it's DUAL, that's its algorithm that it uses step 3 to then find out what is the best and put that into the routing table. Right, so some things about EIGRP neighbors. This is more troubleshooting. This is more for the group project than anything else. You're not going to see this in any other part of this course at this point. Even a Cisco exam, you may get one question. Any question out of EIGRP or 2 at most might be one of these things, and then that's it. So you wouldn't get much more after that. So the thing about this is to help with troubleshooting. So an EIGRP neighbor is another EIGRP speaking router that has a protocol enabled. Not only that, you have a common subnet willing to exchange topology information. So all that is part of your network command is done well, and then your passive interface is set as well, right? So that's all of that parameters you put in place. And then you have the autonomous system number, ES number. If they don't match in terms of autonomous system number, they're not going to form a neighbor adjacency, right? So it uses hello messages, and then they also use this multicast addresses and updates. Checks the following ready to be allowed a neighbor. So more additional checks. So this is troubleshooting again, right? So you have authentication, which we're not going to cover in this course, but just saying there, same, right? So this should have been all the way up here, right? Autonomous system number is important. That's in the advanced lab that you would do in the EIGRP, which is really cool. You're going to have routers with 2 autonomous system numbers because that is set up so that one will communicate with one autonomous system number network, and the other one, that same one, is going to communicate with another autonomous system number network. They basically call them border routers or bridge routers because they're bridging 2 different networks. Good and a bad thing, because good thing is that they isolate updates to like one network as opposed to everybody receiving all the updates. So it kind of isolates where updates go. It's really cool. to check that out. I wish I had more time to go through it and explain it and stuff, but those are long labs, so you have to go through it. That'll take more than, yeah, that could take some time. If I were to do it like displaying everything, that could take you more than 3 hours. The advanced lab will take about 3 hours or more. The regular lab will take about 2. Right? The source IP must be the same subnet, which we already did. Of course, they have something called K values. Cisco requirements do not change these. Leave the defaults. Leave defaults. Hello, whole timers, K values, these things. Unless you know what you're doing in your network and you want to tweak it, especially with slow links and all that thing, fine, go ahead. But Cisco requirements, leave it. And these are special parameters that you use to calculate. Right, so let me just skim and finish. Right, so use update messages to neighbors can be sent to multicast IP address, which we know already. If not to the multicast, they're also going to send to the unicast IP address of the neighbor. Hello messages sent to the 224.0.0.10 multicast. So this will happen here. Updates are sent to the unicast IP, which is whatever IP you set, 192.168 or whatever, while the hellos are sent to the multicast. And based on protocol spec, doesn't matter. Once you're EIGRP on the other side, you're gonna pick it up. You're gonna pick that up. It's up to you if you want to form a neighbor adjacency. That's a whole other stuff after that, right? But you're gonna pick up the updates. And remember, that's if it's what we call a non-passive interface set. So they're allowing the updates to pass through. If you do passive interface, the hello is not going to go through. Right? It sends protocol, so in reliable transfer protocol, RTP, that's their protocol. Right? Just some topology information. So you have the neighbor discovery, send the full updates, continuous hellos, and then partial updates. That's how they do it. Route changes from one side. Let's say a route is here. And our next route is here, and this one is broken. It'll just send a partial update across and say, okay, route change, and that's all. It doesn't have to do a full update to send. Right? And that's more or less the end of this. Which one is multicast hellos? Well, you've seen a few of them, right? So it's 210. Chances of getting this in a Cisco exam might be very rare at this point, given that they're moving out the EIGRP. So you might get to, again, one question like this might come up. So you may have to know about this. Right? Yeah, so you could read more about it. This could be an example. Most of these questions come from the text. All right, so you could check the text for it. That's it here. That's the end. Right, summary, why are prevented from becoming neighbors? Because of the parameters and stuff, and the normal process of neighbor discovery, updates, etc., and partial updates. Right, so that's the end of 10.1.2. See you guys on Thursday. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm hoping to push out first starter group projects tonight. Hopefully 1 or 2 groups, those who answered first, their groups will get their group project first. Right, so those who answered last will get their projects out last. Call that a penalty of time. Right, so yeah, so right, so yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, you could go, if you could go through the other slides, I'll do the 10.1.1 and 10.2.1 and 10.2.2, 10.3 and stuff to implement in the EIGRP. I'll do that on Thursday. So I wouldn't do the other 10.1.1s. Let me see, the other 10.1.3. Well, there's only one more, 10.1.3. But I'll try to see how much 10.2s I could do on Thursday. Maybe up to 10.2.3 or something I might be able to reach up to. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys on Thursday. I'll see how it goes from there. All right, thank you, bye everybody. Don't forget attendance. So far, based on my learning and coursework exam stuff, it's matching up. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Lucky them, not lucky them. They're gonna get their stuff late. They may, well, in the forum. Well, is it based on the forum that they posted, or I made a mistake? No, somebody put, I have all the group members in the forum. I could go up in the forum one time,
Yeah, I just posted.
Let's forum it up, man. Into the forum.
Right, so that would follow, see what's the posted on the forum.
Yeah, man, let's see. All right. Let's get this show on the road here. Right. So I would have used this information and actually generate the group numbers, right? So let me go back to what I'm creating. Huh? Yeah. What's the name of your group?
No, I just posted because it got posted on the forum.
Yeah.
The form and everything.
Really? And you didn't tell me anything.
No, I know my remarks.
You didn't tell me any. As in when?
What?
No, you didn't tell me anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because I thought we already have a group form.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me who your group was.
Oh.
How would I know your group members?
Or I thought he was happening over.
I don't know if I posted some, but guys, do you read at all these messages?
No way. See, he was supposed to do it, but he didn't do it. Right, for this long. Okay.
Look at you guys.
Right, I
Serious. Last one is 29th of October. And then my table, I didn't update it. So that's fine, that's fine. At least you have your group number. I'll update the list. But that means group, this will be group, let me see, 12. No, this is group 11. And then 13 and 14 now, we'll just rearrange 13 and 14 then. That's fine. That's okay, I still have time. I haven't issued yeah, you still have time, you have like 2 more groups to form here. Another group 3 and a group 4. No, it's up to them, just online, right? You're online, right? Letting you all know, you see, that's the problem with these things. You have a whole hour lecture and there's so much stuff in it that you have to listen to everything and listen to the transcript. So you have time, it's there. You're lucky because the first group is going to be issued the group projects and stuff. So you have time to still form your last groups. I will check this page. And this is a cool thing. If you guys decide to edit your pages above, your posts and edit, I have a page screenshot or printed version of it of a certain point in time. So if these things are edited and it doesn't sometimes, Twitter or WhatsApp X show you that it's edited, it may show edited, but I will have the version before it was edited. And that's the reason why I would do print PDFs and all those things. So it keeps a snapshot of what was at that point in time. So I will know when it was changed. But that's fine. That's okay. You guys put your stuff in there. I'll go and make the changes, right? Now, that said, that's what this is for. And that is what this post is about. So I would post, you guys could do it. So this is the first listing. 6 groups, 18 of 43. That's what I got. And I would have put a PDF. Load? Are you kidding me? No, I don't want to do that. Can it open here? Same thing? All right, fine. Doesn't matter. So, right. So this was a snapshot in time of what the groups were at that point. And that's the reason why I post this up on the forum, because you guys could see the progression. Sometimes transparency is a good thing. You see the progression of how the groups are formed along the way. And it's all a matter of how much time I have to update it. So this is the next set. I will open this up. Right. This is the other group. So this is the last tree, which is going to change, right? So you guys would have been group 12. So the name is going to change from group 12 to whoever the members. Sorry. No copilot for you. Come on. All right. Yeah. Right. The membership of group 12 is going to change now. So I'm going to update the table and fix this up, right? But like I said, see, that's all I have about evidence here. This post was posted yesterday, while your guys group membership, right, was posted today, right? Just now, right? So my post predates your post. So in terms of precedence, mine would have been overriding what you did. But because I'm accommodating that you put your group up, I'm gonna update and post mine because mine will come out after. Just like Bitcoin and blockchains, right? You have a history of I'm building up a history of chain history here. In a way, in terms of time, I'm using date time stamps as the chronological order. So 3 guys on land. Yeah, on land. Oh, 3 guys on land. All right, no problem. Right. So yeah, so you see, I have some nice names here. I just want to be more creative and just call you group 12 and 13 and 14 because I was going to randomly pick names out there, but then you guys can say why. So I'll say, you know what? You're 11, 12, 13. Or 12, 13, 14. But anyhow, that's good. And we'll see how it goes. Right. Nice. It's nice. So see how it goes, right? Again, if you guys have any ideas that you want for your project, you can still come to me. You can come to me, email me. You still have the option to do it. But just remember your project will need to contain certain components, right? Of the class. Span entries there, at the channel stuff, some switching stuff. You're going to have some mini home networks. Heck, if you say you want to put all your home networks at home and you want to link them up, fine. You got to use the IP addressing based on your student ID number. I might say mix it up. Some might say use what you really have at home versus your student ID number for the others. So you kind of have some kind of different things happening in there. And that's what it is. So it's simple, but not simple. It's just a matter of putting things together. That's it. So there's nothing impossible. And the essence of it is the troubleshooting to make sure it works. Right? That's where you learn it. That's where you learn it. When you have a problem come up, to know how it works. You could check the notes, Google it, check my labs. And that's how you're going to figure out how it works. All right. So I know a lot of people left. One person in there, Kyle. So a lot of people left. So luckily, you have the recording to go back to, and you have my stream as well to listen to, right? So you could always listen to what I just talked about all now. Right? Any other questions? No, I don't think you have any questions. I think you guys good, man. Right. Okay. Good. Good that you asked that. So you guys are gonna get a recording. So the exam, when we got the draft timetable before you guys got it, I saw that it was there. It happened same time last semester, and for 3607. So it's just informed the department. The department is aware of it, and they will inform exams to remove it. Hopefully, in the next revision updates of the exam, because I think this is the first official draft that came out, they will update and remove those courses from the exam timetable. That should happen, and then from the next running of this course, that should not be there. Well, I don't know. Sometimes exams just forget, and then they'll just go back and add it back again, and then we just have to keep reminding them again. It's a kind of memory thing that the documentation would not keep in track to keep that updated. I think it's more. I kind of think it's a more security thing, so that your people pass information and it get through the system. So at that point, it'll just keep in the system. So what they're doing is that they intentionally forget, so that you now have to pick up on it, or else, so that mistakes will be weeded out, kind of thing. So it wouldn't cause a mistake to go through. Right. So yes, not to worry. It's going to be 100% coursework. I'm just going to put all the grades together, put that up, submit that, and they will upload it onto my server panel and grades. You get the grades, pass, fail, da. Last 3607, everybody passed, so I was happy. Right, so I'm hoping this is the same thing with this course as well. Was it everybody? I think one person didn't. Can't remember. But I think it was a small class. So yeah, but I'm hoping that everybody passed in this time. Right, just do the group project. That's the most important. Work on it, try to get it to work. Your submission is not deadline. There is a deadline you submit, but you can't submit late. I don't penalize for late submissions. So we'll work out something for you guys, right? Okay. Yeah, and that's it. All right, guys. Yes, we did go a little bit much over, but there's just more the concepts, tips, and stuff for the rest of the course as we go along. All right, I think that's it. Bye again. I just chatted to only one person in the room, so I don't know what doing that. Everybody left. All right, let's end. Stop share. Stop camera. Stop audio. Leave.